Thanks. Packer fans lining up today for the final open practice of training camp. Fans getting a chance for their favorite player from the Packers and maybe even the Seattle Seahawks to ride their bike because the teams held a joint practice today. Maria Parmigiani spoke with a few of the fans about this fun tradition.
Kids and adults line the walkway as Packer players and Seahawk players make their way to the practice field ahead of today's joint practice, a tradition every year that many families attend. Fans like Adley, a 7th grader from Wisconsin and a Seahawks fan, waiting patiently by the gate, hoping to snag a signature or two to add to his clipboard.
Well, we go to all the joint practices and then some of the Packer practices too.
And a new adventure for some younger families. Rory brought his family and friends with him this morning. He said this is his first time attending a practice, and while his favorite player won't be in attendance, he's still excited at the possibility of any Packer player riding his bike.
This is my first time doing this.
Packer fans like Jackson, who starts 5th grade soon, enjoying his last few days of summer. He's been there since 7:30 this morning and says he hopes to add some signatures to his hat as well as getting a player to ride his bike. His advice for anyone there is to just be polite, and if the players have time, they'll do it.
Just ask them nicely.
A tradition Packer fans are now sharing with the Seattle Seahawks players. Dinesh Wabanad, Maria Parmigiani, Action 2 News.